Welcome to my home. Welcome to my simple way of living. And welcome to my life. This is Tessie, and this is Homestead Tessie Country Living. You know, I was just finishing up my chores for today, and I was going inside, and hubby said, "What is your heart-to-heart for this week?" I said, "Boy, I don't know. I don't really have one." He said, "Well, why don't you talk about the cloudy days and the sunny days of life?" And I thought, there's a good idea. The cloudy days and the sunny days of life. What does all that mean? I don't know where I'm going with this video, but I hope you stay tuned to it. I always seem to come up with something. I'm very much for saying metaphors of life. I'm all about saying, you know, poems and poetry and the rainy days. We've had a lot of them. In fact, we've had more rainy days than sunny days lately. But what are the rainy days of life? I mean, what do you do when your life is always the same? Having a rhythm of life is great. But if you're doing the same thing, doesn't it get monotonous and depressing? The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away. You know, lately, the camera and I, we've become great friends. I say it's like when you're in the hospital and you have that IV pole. You know, the IV that's hooked to you and you got to take it everywhere you go. You know, that's how my camera has been lately. I just take it wherever I go. I think when we look into the bigger picture of life, you know, there's so many cloudy days, but the sun will always come out tomorrow. And for somebody, the sun is shining really bright right now. While I'm sitting here and it's raining and it's muggy, it's muddy. No matter what I do outside, it's muddy. I think that some people, right now, it's beautiful and it's not a cloud in the sky and the sun is shining brightly, and that's how life is. Yep, that's how life is. You know, while some people are experiencing the worst part of their life, others are experiencing the greatest joy. And while we're in the valley, you know, I've been in many valleys on YouTube and sharing with all of you, hi. I've been in some really big mountaintops too. Been a lot of amazing things have happened in my life, and I was able to film it and share it with all of you. I think the biggest and amazing part that was just having friends and having you all. And you all have been such good friends to me, and I'm so thankful. You've reached beyond the camera, many of you, and reached out to me and shared with me in letters. And some people even wrote some songs about me. Some people wrote poems about me and my life here. And I think it's just amazing. I think for me, I'm learning to take life one day at a time, not be so much goal-oriented. Now, being goal-oriented is great, but just enjoying it, just enjoying where I'm at now, not always stressing about where I'm going to be tomorrow and where I was last week. Life is a highway. I want to ride it all night long. You see, singing and music is a big part of my life, and a lot of people don't realize that, but when I was younger, I would sing. I sang a little bit professionally. They had a mall. You know, in those days, in the 80s and the 90s, the malls were the place where everybody gathered. I would sing with a group of people, and we were on stage and we were paid to sing. I mean, it was nothing exciting, but it was something that was fun. And there was a big time in my life where music wasn't a part of it. There was a big time in my life where, you know, the anxiety took over, and even just singing, I couldn't sing. It was just too much. And so I think music plays a big part of people's lives, whether it's dark music that makes you feel like really horrible and depressed, or it's uplifting music. Through everything in struggles and trials in our lives, you know, there's things that can help it make better. And for me, it was music. You know, music. I love John Denver. There's another thing a lot of people don't know about me. John Denver, when I was really deep in anxiety, he was all I listened to. I loved John Denver. Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads. Yep, he took me home many times in my mind. He took me to places that were a comfort to me. I always liked his singing. And these days, I'm more focused on a lot of just real peaceful music. I still listen to my John Denver. I'm a diehard fan, I always will be. He was taken home way too early in his life. I love Johnny Cash. All the singers that I like are no longer living. I love Doris Day. I'm an old soul, you know, I'm an old soul. And the older I get, the older soul I become. You know, I wish I lived in the 1800s. I wish I lived there. I think, you know, back in the day, I don't even know if it's still anymore, they used to have survival. I would love to have been in the 1800s house, you know, back in PBS and live in survival, 1800s style. I long for that. And I often think, you know, in heaven, I wonder if I could have a little part of heaven where it would be old fashioned and 1800s. And I do. I would embrace the whole thing except for the internet when it comes to all of you. That I would miss tremendously. I cannot imagine the pioneer girls and the children and the women and, you know, just the feeling of utterly aloneness, you know, out in the wilderness, you know, when they were staking out new homesteads. I can't imagine that part of it. That to me would be really hard. And the depression, I would think at times would be very hard. Of course, that was their life. They didn't know of a better life, but still I can't imagine that there wouldn't have been some depression in life. You know, there's a lot of loss, a lot of deaths, a lot of children died over those times, and I can't imagine what it would have been like that, you know, and living in those days. But I always think it would be fun to live the pioneers. So my videos are a lot like Little House on the Prairie, and I always say Tessie style because that's what brings me happiness. I love living like this, even if there was no camera. Oh, ask my children. We would read the Little House on the Prairie series, and I would pretend I was Ma Ingalls. I loved it, and they loved it. I would wear skirts, and I would have patchwork quilts, and I would be on the farm. We lived on a farm for a couple years, and I would just love it. I've always been that way. Even when I was a little girl growing up, my mother would plant flowers, and my mother was very precise and particular. Everything was to be looked at, but never enjoyed or used, you know. And I would pick the flowers, and Mother would get so upset with me. She'd say, Tessie, uck now, Tessie, stop picking them flowers. They're just for pretty. I would pick them and love them, and I'd take dandelions, and we would pretend we had blush on our face, and we would make chains with the dandelions, and we would pick violets and lilacs and all those wonderful things. I'm gonna bring a lot of that back on my channel. Oh yes, it's childlike, but I don't care. It's what brings me happiness and fun. And you know what? I can guarantee you one thing. If you watch my videos, maybe for those couple minutes, you can forget about trials and tribulations in your life. That's my goal. And when's the last time you looked up at the stars? When's the last time you looked up at the clouds? Do you remember as children? Do you remember when you were a child, how carefree you were? How you would look up at the clouds and you would pretend the clouds looked like different things? When's the last time you went stargazing? I told my husband that the other day. I found a map where it shows all the constellations. When's the last time we did that? Like, oh, there's the Little Dipper. You know, when's the last time we did that? Who says you can't be like a child again? I mean, even in the Bible it said, blessed are those like children, for such is the kingdom of heaven. Well, obviously that means in the kingdom of heaven, you have to have a heart like a child. I think the biggest sadness I have ever faced here online was the seeing of adults and how hurt children become hurt adults, and they carry that baggage with them their whole life, and they become older and they're in their 70s, and then they become very cynical and very critical spirit. That hurts my heart more than anything I've ever discovered on YouTube. I think that hurts my heart the most, because when you're hurt as a child and you take that with you your whole life, you're dragging that along your whole life. Why? Why would you go to your grave with something that happened as a child? Because we only have one life to live. Don't you want to just empty that baggage today? Don't you want to just throw that baggage down and say, one more day is one day too many? I wanted to drop my baggage, and I did a couple years ago. And while we're all work in progress, I know, big part of that baggage is gone. And I'm just enjoying life, the simple way of living. Country living. Homestead, Tessie, country living. That's me. I'm not going to be labeling myself mobile home or labeling myself this and that. I'm always Homestead Tessie. That was a name given to me ever since my daddy was still living. I will always be Tessie. And you know, when we lose our loved ones, a big part of our soul is just eaten out of. Like, it's like literally like when we lose our loved ones, you all know it. I'm not alone. It's like a big part of your soul is just like an apple, and it's like a big bite taken out of it. And it's like, there it is. It's like, what do you do with that eaten part out? You know, it's like there's an eaten part out of it. What do you do with that? And while we stick band-aids on that hole there, and we keep sticking band-aids and we keep sticking band-aids on it, the band-aids fall off and that hole is there. But you know what? Through time, that hole starts to close a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit, and pain starts to heal. And while we always miss our loved ones, we start living for them in a way that we keep their memory alive and we show happiness. My daddy would love it if I would be a childlike again. My daddy would love it when I sang, and I have a video out where we're singing, my daddy and I, Jesus loves me. Yes, it's juvenile, it's childlike. But when my daddy and I sang it to my mother, that was the last time that my mother smiled. That very last time my mother smiled. And that was probably 2 years before she died. The last time, and I caught it on film, the last time that my mother looked at me and recognized me. And I can't wait. The minute I die, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna sing Jesus Loves Me. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sing Jesus Loves Me to my daddy and my mom. So embrace, embrace life. Embrace the ups and the downs, and it's life. But remember, we only have one life to live. Remember that. Live it. Enjoy it. Whatever you enjoy. What do you enjoy doing? What did you enjoy when you were younger? Maybe some of those things we can't do today because our bodies are giving out and our minds are wearing out, but what do you enjoy? Maybe you're alone in your house right now watching me, and you think, oh, Tessie, nothing's not worth anything anymore. Nobody's around. But you are. You're worth it. Maybe you're sitting at home and you have a husband. You're like, well, Tessie, my husband doesn't really care what I do. He doesn't care about me. He's doing his own thing. We kind of went our own ways. It's okay. You are important. You are worthy. Maybe you're sitting there and you say, well, Tessie, all of my children, they're still at home and I am so busy. My children keep me busy day and night. It's survival mode. Remember, you are worth it. Take a moment and do something you enjoy. And maybe you say, Tessie, I don't have my spark anymore. Oh, it's easy for you to say. You have children, you have a husband, but I don't have my spark. Then I would say to you, how can you get your spark back? What can we do to bring that life back into you? Because it would help you out. It would help you out, because what's the point in being depressed? It only hurts you even more. It's a work in progress. Do little things in your life that you once enjoyed. And remember, it's baby steps. I have a really close friend, and I really got to be close to her through YouTube and online. And she comments on every video of mine. And when I was going through that really dark point in my life again with the anxiety, she was going through something as well. And she's by herself. And she's like, you know what? She's realizing that doing things, getting up in the morning and doing things helps her. And not necessarily she has to do them, like making some of the things that I make. You know, of course she doesn't have to do that, but there's a purpose in doing that and waking up. Yeah, it's a purpose. Let's bring back the purpose of our life again. And you know what? You can pray for others. And praying for others can make a huge difference, because I know 101% that there were people praying for me. They didn't just say it, they were praying. They were praying. They were praying for me. I felt it. Prayers you can feel. And that's something anybody and everyone can do, no matter what your limitations are. Well, everyone, I hope you're having a great Sunday, or whenever you're watching this. And just know that if you're ever lonely, you'll see me. I come to your house every day. All you have to do is open up your door. I'm knocking. Hello, Homestead Tessie's here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every single day. Open up that door and let me in. And you know what? I think if you do that, I really think that you will start slowly feeling your life come back, because that's the point of me, and that's the point of my life, and that's the point of my channel, is to bring back that spark that's just right around the corner there. You just got to bring it out. Take care, everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow.